Okay. You guys are in charge. Go ahead. I want to see how you do. Make sure you introduce yourself so they can write your name and spell it correctly.
Absolutely. Thank you, Governor. Good evening, and thanks to everyone for being here today. We are very excited for this moment. I'm glad that you all can be here to share it with us. My name is Amelia Sykes. I represent Ohio's 34th House District, also known as the birthplace of champions. In my first interview...
Why is that, Amelia? Why is it the birthplace of champions?
Well, it is the birthplace of champions because, of course, LeBron James was born there as well as Steph Curry. But there are so...
Oh, I didn't know Steph Curry was born there.
Absolutely. But there are so many wonderful human beings who are champions for causes and ideals that always need to be celebrated. And their names may not be on jerseys. Their names might not be on lights. They may not be on television shows like you, but they all deserve to be honored and recognized. And so that's what I do when I call my district the birthplace of champions.
Well, that's great.
Absolutely. In my first interview with the State House reporter, I was asked whether I had any issues or bills that I wanted to work on as a new member of the Ohio House of Representatives. My response was that I wanted to address the loophole that left victims of dating violence ineligible for civil protection orders. A little over 2 years later, I am elated, proud, and truly honored to be here with friends, family, advocates, and Governor Kasich as he signed House Bill 1 into law. I'll say that again. As he signs House Bill 1 into law.
How'd you know I'm going to sign it? You don't know this. Don't be guessing.
This is a cruel trick, Governor. For entirely too long, victims of dating violence have been in the shadows, unable to access critical tools that protect them from the violence that destroys their lives and their ability to thrive and be productive citizens. The statistics are startling, and the mere fact that there are people in the state suffering in violent relationships who cannot get help is frightening. Even more disturbing is that Ohio is just one of 2 states in the entire country that has not protected victims of dating violence. But today's bill signing will change all of that. House Bill 1 will close the loophole and strengthen Ohio's domestic violence laws to include all types of intimate partner violence, including dating violence. Now, obviously, I wish a bill like this was not necessary, but I'm grateful for the overwhelming bipartisan support this bill has received from Speaker Rosenberger and his leadership team, the House Democrats, including our leadership team, and Rep. Celebrezzi is here with us, our assistant leader, the Senate President Obhoff, and the members of the Senate. And I would be remiss if I did not also recognize my joint sponsor of this dating violence bill from the 131st General Assembly, Christy Coons, who is here, and Representative Manning, who is the joint sponsor of House Bill 1. The people of this state need to know that their leaders are willing to stand by them in their time of need. House Bill 1 does exactly that. It sends a message to victims that we are with you, we will protect you, and we will not let you go through this alone. But it also sends a message to abusers that we will not tolerate this kind of behavior in this state, and there will be consequences and there will be repercussions for your actions. While I know House Bill 1 will not put an end to all types of intimate partner violence, I do know that protection orders are effective in early intervention that can change the lives of victims for the better. I would again like to thank everyone for their help in moving this bill along the process and making the lives of Ohioans to be free from violence a priority in the state of Ohio. But I am most grateful for the opportunity for my God to allow me to do his work for the constituents of Ohio's 34th House District in the state of Ohio. And with that, I'm going to introduce Representative
No.
No?
Yeah. No, with that, we're going to introduce your mother to come to the podium and say things about her daughter. So come on over here. Come on. This is your daughter. She's very emotional. You come on over here. We're not going to have your dad talk. He talks all the time, but we're going to let you talk. You talk about what this is like for you. This is important.
I'm just speechless. Thank you, Governor, for the opportunity to let you know how very proud I am of my daughter, Amelia Strong Sykes. for the work that she has done on this bill. You know, we're told that if we raise our children the way that they should go when they were old, they won't depart from it. And I can stand here and say, absolutely, she has not departed from it. Her father and I are very proud of her today, as well as the other sponsors of this legislation, because we've told her to make sure that she look out for the little person. And there is no one in a situation where they find themselves that they cannot get out of a situation because someone is taking over their lives, mentally and physically taking over their lives and causing them to do things and to say things and to be in situations that they never would have thought that they could be. So they're helpless. And to be a helpless person and not knowing where you're going to find that answer to your problem, being embarrassed about it, even though you're the victim. To have the opportunity to know that my daughter, Amelia Sykes, is making a difference in individual lives that she will never get a chance to know, and that would never know her or know the reason why help has come on its way. I am just so proud and honored to have this opportunity to say she is my daughter. Thank you.
Good, fantastic, thank you. Who are we going to have next? Who are we going to have? Okay.
Good evening. My name is former Representative Christy Coons. I represented the 32nd House District in the last General Assembly. I'd like to start off by thanking Representative Amelia Sykes for being a champion on this issue and on this bill. Thank you for asking me to join you on this journey, and to all of the advocates for their persistence and patience, including those that traveled from my district several times, Victoria Morgan, who's here today, members from the YWCA, and former council member Yvette Simpson. I want to thank Speaker Rosenberger for fully supporting this bill and a commendable show of bipartisanship, along with Senator Bacon for his support in the Senate and Representative Manning for joining Representative Sykes this GA on House Bill 1. And thank you, Governor Kasich, for taking this most important step of signing this legislation into law, if you keep your promise, because I know you said it's up in the air. When my 4-month-old daughter Chloe and my 3-year-old son Kai grow up, I want them to be proud that their mom was part of something that provided protection to some of our most vulnerable citizens today. And I want to thank again Amelia Sykes for making this happen. To the esteemed group of advocates that have traveled up, I mentioned you earlier, but I want to make sure that you all take a moment to soak this in and understand that this is very much your victory as it is ours. To those Ohio residents out there, I want you to look at Representative Sykes and how she fought for you unwavering for 2 years without ever considering giving up. And I want you to look at that perseverance and understand that you must not give up on yourself. You must speak up, get help, and get out of the situation and live the life that you deserve. Thank you. Amen. Senator Bacon.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I think back as chairman of the Judiciary Committee, when you work through these bills, they may sound easy, but they're not. I think Representative Sykes got a taste of that. It can be very frustrating at times, but due to Representative Sykes and Coonsey and Representative Manning's persistence, they were able to make meaningful change in Ohio law. Finally, Ohio is going to join ranks and put dating violence into code. And I can tell you in my 12 years now in the General Assembly, this is my 12th year, I've worked on civil and criminal justice issues. And when things like this happen, I think back, I've had the opportunity in the past to work with many victims, from Roberta Francis with Roberta's Law, with the Tokes family, and Judy Malinowski and some of the others. And some of these things just stick with you. And I'll never forget talking to a constituent from Westerville early in my time in the House. And she was in a relationship with someone, and she told me about how the violence pursued. She couldn't get out of the relationship, and she's getting beaten over and over and over and can't escape, to the point where she finally screams out, "Please just make sure my body is somewhere where my child can't find me when you kill me." And those things haunt you and they stick with you, and you're constantly looking for ways that you can improve people's lives. And what you find is that there is no one cure-all, but all we can do is keep fighting. And every time we work on these bills, we're working to increase awareness, we're working to punish wrongdoers, and to help our victims. And this is one incredible piece of this puzzle that's going to go a long way in Ohio to do that. Once again, thank you to all of the sponsors and the victims advocates that have made this bill become reality. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mickey Valdez, and I'm the Director of Services for Victim Assistance Program in Summit County. I'd first like to thank Governor Kasich for inviting me to be present during the signing of House Bill 1. A thank you to the members of both the House and the Senate for working together for the greater good of Ohio's citizens. And a special thank you to Representative Amelia Sykes, who represents my own home district and who proposed this piece of legislation back in 2015 and never wavered in fighting for the passage of this bill to protect the victims and survivors of dating violence. As victim advocates, we come to work knowing that each day we will encounter dozens of people on what could potentially be the worst day of their lives. Of the 6,000 plus victims our agency serves per year, nearly 40% are victims of domestic violence. And of that population, incredibly, 1/4 of that population are victims of dating violence. For years, Victim Assistance Program and other agencies like ours have witnessed victims of dating violence face less than optimal resources when seeking protections for themselves, often having to endure additional victimizations before a reasonable course of action is afforded. Victims like Ariana, who sought a civil protection order after her boyfriend threatened to, quote, chop her up, only to have it denied because it was a solitary incident, and then suffer a subsequent assault the very same day when he lured her out of her apartment and held a knife to her throat. Or victims like Candace, who endured an assault by her boyfriend, was denied a civil protection order after this single incident, and then had no appropriate criminal recourse when he attacked her a second time, an act that would have earned him criminal charges had a civil protection order been in place. There are two significant facts that the passage of House Bill 1 recognizes. The first is that victims of dating violence experience the same traumas and face the same risks that victims of domestic violence do, regardless of their living arrangement. And second, these victims and survivors are valued by our lawmakers and are deserving of the same protections. Just as our understanding of intimate partner violence has evolved, House Bill 1 will now expand our laws to follow suit. As we anticipate the official enactment of this bill, I am captivated by the realization that the advancement in the protection of victims and survivors of dating violence in the state of Ohio will commence just days before we celebrate National Crime Victims' Rights Week. For Ariana, Candace, and the hundreds of other victims of dating violence, House Bill 1 conveys that your voices have been heard, and our state is committed to do more, to do better. And today, Governor Kasich, you will move our state forward and do better for victims of dating violence. Thank you.
Stephanie? Come on, you say something.
Well, I just wanted to extend my congratulations and my thank you to Representatives Coons and Sykes and Manning, and obviously Senator Sykes and Senator Manning as well. I think this is one of those times when it's as Senator Bacon said, it seems like a no-brainer, and then of course it takes longer to get something done. And I'm just really pleased and proud to be here today to celebrate doing the right thing for people in Ohio. And as the mom of 2 teenage daughters myself, it's about time. So I'm really, really anxious to get this signed, and I'm not going to say any more, so thank you.
Nick, you want to say something? Your daughter's here, so you better.
Or I'll be in trouble for my daughter. Nick Celebrezzi, Assistant Minority Leader of the Democratic House Caucus. I just want to say a few things. First, how proud I am of my two members. for their persistence in this legislation. I can remember standing in the rotunda at about 2 a.m. in the morning on the last day of session, trying to get the bill worked through that didn't work, and their persistence to make sure that the legislation got done today. I also want to say to all Ohioans what a proud day this is for future generations like my daughter Isabella, that they'll be able to grow up having more protections. And I really want to give special thanks to the governor for working this in a bipartisan fashion. This is proof to all Ohioans that the Ohio legislature, no matter the political parties we come from, really do want to move Ohio forward. And sometimes our methods of getting there are different, but we really do want to move Ohio forward. And Governor, I want to thank you for your bipartisanship, your push for bipartisanship in this issue amongst others, and definitely this is a proud day for all Ohioans. Thank you.
Okay, Dad?
Just briefly, and Barbara, we both are very proud of Amelia. And Barbara talked about what we've taught Amelia. But one of the things we taught her is that you can be outnumbered, but you can still take the high ground. You can be outnumbered, but you can still get the advantage. And just after serving one term in the super minority, she was able to convince the majority to make this the #1 legislative priority in the Ohio House of Representatives. I'm proud of her. I'm proud to have voted on this, and I'm glad for the citizens of this state.
Okay. Well, there's not much more to be said other than it's so sweet to see a mom and dad watch their daughter pass legislation. And I see we have a few people here. If you have been victims of domestic violence, we'll pray for you. And not just thoughts and prayers, now we have some action too, right? And if we can get our gun bills through, there's a provision that if you have been engaged in domestic violence, you're not going to be able to have one. That should be a gimme. That should be a lay down hand. And I was just so pleased to listen to Amelia speak and get a little emotional. You know, yesterday, Amelia, was a really important day in our nation's history because it was the anniversary of Dr. King's assassination. And I've had the opportunity to know Bernice King, his daughter, and thought about her words, because she was just a little girl. And you think about the pain she suffered. And then I had an opportunity to listen to the incredible address from the top of a car delivered in Indianapolis by Senator Bobby Kennedy. His words mattered, and his words were about healing and love and connectiveness. We need more of that in this country. And I think the fact that this bill passed unanimously, usually if something passes unanimously, we don't come here and have news, but we think this is so important. The issue is so important, the abuse of people, you know, caught in a dating situation as I listen, and I'm sure there are some folks here who could tell you stories that we all seek justice, don't we? And maybe this is just one more step in the area of justice with a long way to go. But proud of you and your mom and your dad. This must be an incredible day. I have to wonder if I would ever want to see my daughter in politics. I don't know what to say about that. But everybody that's here, it's a thank you. And I want to say to my colleagues on the Democrat side, Nick, you know this, and Senator, you know this, if you have something that you think is really critical, you need to tell me, because we can work to help you. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's about people who can come together to make sure that the folks of this state are served. That's what it's really all about. And I hope that attitude will continue when I'm gone. If it's not, tell me. I'll give you my phone number, Senator. Okay, let me sign this bill, and I'm going to need some help from that young lady here. I can't just do this on my own. Come on, everybody, gather around so we can do this. Okay. What's the date?
April 5th.
You know, when I was here the last time, I was talking about 30 days has September, April, June, and November, and I forgot we were in March. So I always get this screwed up. Today's the 5th?
Yes.
When's your birthday?
October 8th.
That didn't take long for you to know that. So what's your daddy going to take you out to dinner or something?
I'm sure.
No? She got nice chocolate. I mean, that was pretty good. Okay. Okay, where's Amelia?
Right here.
Here, okay, you got to dot the R
Is it going to
there.
still be good?
Just dot the R. Dot it good, so we can see it,
All right.
Amelia. Okay. Okay. All right, young lady, here you go. Can you help me? What do you do above an eye?
Put it on.
You think you could do that? All right, let's see you do it.
Very good.
Well, I don't see it's not filled in, it's just like... Okay, you know, how about if we do it this way?
The heart.
How about that? There's some ears, okay? How's that? What do you want to name that? Huh? No, I don't know. Let's think. What could we name that little guy there that dotted the I?
John?
Okay. So now it's the law of the land. Thank you, everybody.